Hi everyone, welcome back to Build 5.9's, your source for cloud, DevOps, and AI technologies. If you're new here, my name is Chris Peachman. I'm a longtime Microsoft MVP, HashiCorp Ambassador, and Microsoft Certified Trainer. On this channel, we dive into best practices, tools, and frameworks to supercharge your development workflows, DevOps processes, and things in the cloud. Don't forget to hit that like, subscribe button to stay updated on the latest content here on the channel. Today I want to talk to you a little bit about one of my favorite tools in the Azure ecosystem, so the Azure Developer CLI, or AZD for short. This open source tool streamlines your journey from development and deployment on Azure, combining code, build, deploy, and monitoring workflows into a seamless experience. Whether you're a seasoned pro or just getting started with Azure, the Azure Developer CLI is a game changer for automating and managing your projects. However, what if you could supercharge your experience with AZD using pre-built templates, let's say? Well, AZD Awesome comes in to provide this. This is an open source template library designed to give you a head start on deploying modern cloud native applications within Azure. With AZD Awesome, you get access to curated templates from common application stacks, including .NET, Node, Python, and more, all configured with best practices in mind. Let me show you how this works. So you head over to the AZD Awesome page. You can find this on GitHub in the GitHub repo underneath the Azure organization. Or you can also access it from the website deployment, where you'll probably use it to browse through the templates at azure.github.io/awesome-azd. Within here, you'll find templates for web apps, APIs, data pipelines, and other application workloads to allow you to quickly spin up applications, references for Azure services. Common things like Azure Cosmos DB, PostgreSQL, Azure Functions, Azure Kubernetes Service, container applications, app services, and so much more within the Azure platform. As we browse through the template library here, we can see there's quite a few templates already, and there's more being added all the time. Microsoft is contributing these, as well as members of the community. I'll just scroll down here a little bit, and we'll pick, let's say, this .NET isolated Azure function with zip deploy. If I click on that, it's going to show us a little bit of information about this template, including links to the author of the template. Thanks, Frank, on this one. And a link to click over to view the GitHub repo for this specific template, as well as full details, information on the quick usage with AZD. You can simply do an AZD init -t or a -- template from the command line, and you include the name of this template, which is actually just the kind of path to the GitHub repo. So it's the GitHub organization / the name of the repo. In this case, it's F. Boucher, hope I don't mispronounce that, /zip deploy -az function. So really any GitHub repo can become an AZD template, whether it's part of this library or not. But there's so many reference templates within this library. And at the bottom here, it'll show you with this template, what are the Azure services that are included for this template. In this case, we have App Insights, blob storage, and functions. If you look through all the templates in the library, you'll find so much more examples of so many different Azure services. So let's go ahead and take a look at this specific template. Instead of spinning it up, let's look at the code for it. So I'm going to click on this View on GitHub link, and this brought us over to that GitHub repo for this one. So again, this specific template is a sample example of how to deploy an Azure function using zip deploy. A very simple way to deploy and manage an Azure function without having to use a full CI/CD pipeline. This looks like a great example in just this template, and there's so many more in the library. Scroll down here and we'll look at the code, and we can see the README also shows us some information about this template, how to deploy it. Now let's go back over here to the library, and just for the sake of this being Build 5.9's, I'm going to search for a Build 5.9's template that I have actually contributed into the gallery here myself. So I'll open this one, and it says it's a multi-tier app with a React.js dashboard, front-end SPA, and a Node.js backend API. So if you ever wonder, how do I get this type of an application set up with a React SPA and a Node backend, deployed out to Azure App Service and wired up for me, this template will give you a great start on creating such an application. So we can see the description, we can see the init command to run to instantiate an instance of this template for us. And included in this template, we can see the different Azure services that are deployed from the bicep templates within this AZD template. This one's going to spin up App Insights, Azure App Service, Key Vault, Log Analytics, and a static web app. Now let's go ahead and go look at this template over on GitHub. We can see it's just an open source repo. It's even licensed with the MIT license. You can take this template and use it for your applications if you wanted to. So this one is a multi-tier app with a dashboard front end built with React and Bootstrap, hosted within an Azure static web app with a backend API service written in Node.js. So we can see the README has a little bit of instructions here using the AZD, Azure Developer CLI. First, we need to log in to our Azure subscription. It's AZD auth login. Then we'll use AZD init with the template to specify this is the template we want to initialize. And the local folder that we're in on our machine, we'll go and download the bits for this template and get everything ready on our local machine to be able to start building an app or deploying this template out to our environment. And then AZD up, as you would do in the Azure Developer CLI, to go and deploy this template out into Azure. We can see a nice little diagram here showing the broad overall view of what's deployed in this template. We have a resource group, which is going to contain an Azure static web app that our React and Bootstrap app is going to be deployed to for a front-end dashboard or user portal application experience, and then a app service plan with an app service for the API app to be deployed to that's written in Node.js. Also using Swagger here, so we're kind of using some standard API app tools. List of the Azure resources that are going to be deployed here for this app. Now we can see a screenshot of what this app will look like. So it's using the Bootstrap dashboard kind of default template that, available there to build a simple front-end app UI that you can start from to creating your great enterprise applications. And then we can see the API. It'll host it using Azure App Service. With the Swagger integration, we'll have that Swagger UI for our API. And it'll be wired up so that the check API connection button within the application itself will make an API call to the status endpoint for the API. And you can go ahead and start wiring up from there to building out a full application using this template once it's deployed and you start modifying it for your own needs. And now let's go back here to the library. And we can search through all kinds of templates that are in this library for different technologies, different Azure services, frameworks. So we can see there's all kinds of templates here for Angular, AutoGen, Blazor, Django, Fast API, Flask, I mentioned Node, .NET, and so on. And all the Azure services, we can expand this and select which specific services we're interested in deploying and find a template for those. So if I go down here, and I select, say Azure Storage, it'll bring up templates here for Azure Storage. Now we have 2 of them, I guess, for this one. We'll clear that filter. We'll go down here to, say, Azure Functions. Maybe we'll have some more there. Yes, there's a lot more. It gives us a lot of different templates we can look at. Now you can dive into the code for these templates on your own. There's a lot of bicep or even Terraform code for deploying, provisioning the infrastructure, the code for deploying the applications. It might be multiple applications or a single application deployed with a template, depending on what it is. The one that I showed you as an example was the dashboard and backend API is actually deploying 2 apps. It's part of the same template, so maybe 2 apps, part of the same workload of the broader application itself. AZD Awesome is actually pretty awesome, right? Showing you easy access, how to access AZD templates, giving you a resource that makes leveraging the Azure Developer CLI much easier and more impactful. If you're ready to take your Azure development game to that next level, I really recommend you taking these templates out for a try, and even using some of these maybe as the start for the next application that you're building. Thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful, be sure to give it a thumbs up, share, subscribe to the channel. Let me know your comments, which AZD templates you're most excited to try. I'd like to see what you're doing out there, what you're seeing that you like. If there's a topic you'd like to cover in the future video, let me know as well. Till next time, keep building awesome things in Azure, and see you soon.